this video, we will introduce you to FortiClient EMS and demonstrate integration with your FortiGate. FortiClient EMS can be used in standalone mode, where FortiClient installers are distributed to endpoints and then managed by EMS directly without a FortiGate, as well as FortiGate integrated mode, using EMS to distribute FortiClient installers and sets the FortiGate as the registered management device. As one example, this is a great way to easily add many machines at once to an existing FortiClient deployment. This is what our example environment looks like. EMS will access Active Directory to obtain endpoint information, then it will import existing profiles from the FortiGate and generate custom FortiClient installers containing these profiles that will be automatically installed on each endpoint. As the profiles included the FortiGate's registration IP, the endpoints will register directly with the FortiGate, enforcing compliance. Let's take a look at group policy management to check that all the required services are configured correctly. Our test domain is named Spectrum, and we have configured the default domain policy with 3 system services. Windows Installer, Remote Registry, and Task Scheduler. These facilitate remote installation of FortiClient. Now let's take a look at FortiClient EMS. This is a new installation, so no endpoints or AD server have been added yet. This is the default EMS profile. As we can see here, it uses antivirus, web filtering, and VPN. We will instead import existing profiles we have created on our FortiGate. Now let's connect to the Active Directory server. Entering the group name we'd like to appear on EMS, along with the AD server's IP and the credentials of the administrator of the AD server. If the username and password is correct, the test connection will be successful. And now we save it. In left pane, we can see it importing the requested information from the AD. We now see the organizational units under our test domain Spectrum here in the left-hand tree. One endpoint in the downstream OU and one endpoint in the upstream OU. If you select the endpoint, you can see that install information is not applicable and the FortiClient version is listed as not installed. Now we can import the profiles from the FortiGate. We enter the IP of the FortiGate and the login. We're prompted for the VDOM registration key, which we have not set on the FortiGate, so we just click Next. These are the profiles in the FortiGate. We'll import the Windows profiles, and the profiles have automatically generated names that begin with the serial number of the FortiGate, then FortiClient profile name as labeled on the FortiGate. After importing, we can see the 3 profiles on the left-hand side. In this installer dropdown, future installers will be listed. Installers can be created under View, Software Manager. Now we can create an installer to distribute FortiClient and the profiles. We'll call it Spectrum, add any relevant notes, and we'll keep the default version selections and save. We can select an installer and see all of its details. Now here we can add the AD administrator password, giving us access to install to the endpoints. And we do this for each of our installers. Now before installing, we'll show you our FortiClient monitor on the FortiGate to show you what it looks like before, and then we'll return to it after we have installed FortiClient and registered successfully. Go to User and Device, Monitor, FortiClient. And we can see that there are indeed no clients currently registered to this FortiGate. This will be populated after installation and registration. Back on EMS, we will install our first profile upstream by dragging it over the upstream OU. And confirm. And here we can see that it is currently installing. I can also assign the downstream profile by highlighting the OU and clicking the assign arrow on the profile. Here on the upstream workstation, we can see that FortiClient has now installed. We'll open up FortiClient and have a look at the profile. We can see it's registered to our FortiGate's IP, and the relevant items are enabled. Switching to downstream, and we can see the same. Registration can also be seen in the EMS endpoints view, and on the FortiGate we can see the registration as well in the FortiClient monitor. Whether you're using EMS in standalone or FortiGate integrated modes, the EMS dashboard provides a wealth of information in easy-to-read graphs. These in particular were taken from a larger test we conducted. Get started with FortiClient EMS today and easily enforce compliance across all supported endpoints like never before. Thank you for watching.